Hey friends. So for a while I've wanted to record some little videos or write some little pieces that um, gave some of our friends a chance to know what some of our lyrics are about. And those of you guys who are friends with us know us personally and know our stories, and others of you that we are friends with might know some things peripherally or have caught on to a few of the themes in some of our music. But lately, one of our older songs from our first EP has kind of bubbled up again, and it's started a few conversations with a couple of groups of friends around the history of the song and kind of the thinking of it, and it's sort of an out of place style-wise song on the record a little bit. And so I thought I'd take a chance just to kind of put us through like a little bit of a maybe condensed version of the crazy exercise that goes on in my mind, I think, sometimes, and maybe one of the reasons that I and we and everyone needs outputs, artistically, emotionally, socially, all kinds of different ways we need to process things and get them out. I do that with this piece of wood and string, and I don't really care if I do it well or not. I just do it. I listen to a lot of music. I get stuck on songs. I listen to the same song a lot of times sometimes. And as we were kind of getting the band together and starting to write songs for the first record, I was kind of coming out of this really difficult few years in my life. My dad was really sick. He eventually died of a really rare disease. And I think that like that sort of caused this catharsis a little bit in me, and I started writing a lot and then playing with music with some of my friends and eventually bringing them some songs that I thought maybe we could try out together. And before we knew it, we were playing shows and recording music, and it was fantastic. But along the way, there were sort of these songs that were kind of saving me, and songs that were protecting me, and songs that were giving me forms of assurance, and other music that was sending me into spirals of even greater desperation. And those songs came from all kinds of different places. And even today, I'll hear new music that I almost feel like, oh, that song is actually getting at what I was feeling years ago. And I didn't know how to express myself, and even the song that I wrote maybe had an idea to it. But this artist is what I was really thinking about. And one of the songs that I kind of am hearing now, and I've known the song for several years, but now when I hear it, it kind of like pings back to this signpost, to this anchor point in my life. And it's a song, Plateau by Glenn Hansard. And he's singing kind of the song about love, and it's probably like a romantic kind of place, love. But my love for my dad and my love for the life that I felt like I had when he was around, having a sounding board, having someone to confide in, having someone to reach out to, that was sort of this amazing period. And now it sometimes feels that in life as we go along, there's these places where I can get stuck. And in those stuck plateaus where I've kind of come to some point and I'm just like sitting on that plane for a while, it's sometimes when I think back to those beautiful, maybe romanticized sometimes times, that I get these little inspiration bumps and little nudges to move forward in something. And I think that's what Hansard is singing about in the song. And I'll kind of pick some songs apart that I've heard, and others in the band to be on these as well, that kind of inform some of the writing and some of the lyrics that we've done. I'm on a plateau. It's not where I belong. It's taken so many years to figure out my way upon this done, and every time I try, words make little sense until you're gone. And everything must change. Everything must change upon this plateau. The diamond sky's enough to take you miles ahead, where the past can never catch us, and all your good friends all gathering all around. They say the time is now, so I must resolve to say it's just me, myself again. And I'm just talking to the wall this time. Just me, myself, and I. Just me, myself again. And I'm just talking to the wall this time. It's just me, myself, and I. Not where I belong. It's taken so many years to figure out my way upon this plateau. It's all been said and done, and every time I try, the words make little sense until you're gone. So that last verse that I repeated there, there's this feeling in songwriter of being in this waiting place, in this sort of eddy along a river, waiting for something to happen, waiting for muse, waiting for inspiration, waiting for movement of some sort. And I love what Hansard says here, that the words make little sense. Writing these songs, writing them, and sometimes it's just a wrestling match with ourselves until I go back to the place where the song came from, that my dad's gone, and then it changes everything completely. And the song Aurora Borealis, which some of us have been like posting about and commenting about lately, comes from this place of one of those moments when writing a bunch of songs about different things, singing songs that were mine and singing songs that belonged to other people, and then you have this realization. I had this heavy thought one day that, oh yeah, you're gone, and I need to deal with that today. And so the song kind of harkens back to being in a punk rock band when I was a kid, and you'll hear some lines in the lyrics about that wrestling match, about fighting scary things, which comes up in other of our songs, and like the tales and stories and sounds and thoughts that are those memorable, like super nostalgic kind of things for me, and also like this sort of urge to move forward in some things as well. Aurora Borealis. Well, I'm rambling on to the stories and the songs. Like echoes are the only thing that stay. And my head can be so wrong when it's captured by the thoughts of the monsters that keep pulling me away. So underneath, I peek the gaps between the trees. I almost see the northern lights, the pixels, and my pride keeps stopping me from taking on the scary things. And the more I run away, the more I find myself a slave of suffering. Of suffering. patience and despair are enemies. And I'm still listening to the rustling of the trees. Keep making sure there's something to believe. So underneath, I peek the gaps between the trees. I almost see the northern lights, but pixels and my pride stopping me from taking on the scary things. And the more I run away, the more I find myself a slave of suffering. Of suffering. Of suffering. Of suffering. Well, those tales you told, you know they never will get old. Where patience and despair are enemies. Those tales you told, you know they never will get old. But patience and despair are enemies. And I'm still listening to the rustling of the trees. Keep making sure there's something to believe. So underneath, I peek through gaps between the trees. I almost see the northern lights, but pixels and my pride keep stopping me from taking on the scary things. And the more I run away, the more I find myself a slave of suffering. Suffering. Yeah, so those echoes of longing, of patience wearing thin, of pain and of recovery. I think as we have these conversations, or I share some thoughts about songwriting, I'll also add that a lot of the time it's all of that stuff, all of my stuff, offered to and then bounced back off the sounding board of being in a band with guys that care about you, with guys that are doing life with you, and adding amazing thoughts and nuance and ideas. I remember when I wrote that song, I had some little idea piece for it, and then Jesse came up with the chorus. So underneath, I peeked through gaps between the trees, and then he had this beautiful line. I almost see the northern lights, but pixels and my pride keep stopping me. And that came directly from an idea that Jesse had. And so being able to take these serious, sometimes overwhelming pieces of ourselves, of our life, and then sharing them with people, and then producing something that we get to share with others. Sometimes a club with a bunch of people dancing around and jumping. Sometimes in a dive bar with 4 people. We thank you guys for listening to the music with us. And there's more to come.